Hello, everyone. Welcome to our exciting joint webinar between Mercku and Aprecomm. I'm Andrii, Director of Partnerships at Mercku, and I'll be your guide through today's journey. So we're about to dive into how Aprecomm is revolutionizing the service provider market and seamlessly integrating with Mercku mesh Wi-Fi routers. And before we jump in, let me introduce our star lineup of speakers. So we have Bob Lamb, our SVP of Strategy and Partnerships and General Manager Americas at Aprecomm. Next is Srini Tagirisa, Executive Vice President and General Manager at Aprecomm, and Vittal Yadav, VP of Technology and Solutions at Aprecomm. Now I'd like to invite our first speaker, Bob Lamb. And as I understand, Bob, Aprecomm is all about enhancing the customer's experience at home, right? So can you paint us a picture of what's happening in the world of home connectivity and why Aprecomm's solution is so timely for consumers?
Sure. Thanks, Andrii. First, just want to give a little bit of background. Who is Aprecomm? Where did it come from? And how did we get to this point in our journey? And then we'll go a little bit into what our vision and strategy is going forward. So Aprecomm's been around for a while. It was founded in 2016 in Bangalore, India. It, like many companies in this space, started out in the enterprise Wi-Fi environment. So spending a lot of time looking at the enterprise space, coming up with algorithms that optimize that, and very focused on a lot of the work that was being done with open Wi-Fi. Then COVID happened. And when there wasn't much enterprise activity going on, the company decided to make a strategic pivot, to go into the residential space. So they took the downtime from COVID and took the same intellectual property, the work that they had been doing on these algorithms to optimize Wi-Fi for enterprises, and took that capability and applied it into how do I make everything within the home better. And so that's kind of the pivot in the strategy that happened during the COVID period. The company was founded by two veterans from the Silicon world. So you had Pramod Gumaraj and Guhan Shivakumar, and they both came from Qualcomm. So their background is in the chip space. And that's kind of very important because of the way they have approached the problem from the bottom up is very different than how many others in this industry have approached it from the top down. So they've come up with a really unique approach, and we think the differentiation of what we're trying to do to really drive operational excellence is something that's resonates very well with the service providers in the marketplace today, and B, is very critical to getting connectivity to everyone and having that connectivity be as perfect as it possibly can be. So, we've had tremendous success up to this point. So at this juncture, we've got about 60 customers globally. Most of our background started out in India, and we're in the process now of breaking out of India and going into the Americas, expanding into other areas of Asia and Africa and Europe. So we're in that global expansion part of it. But those 60 customers drive right now about 7 million different subscribers that are currently operating on our platform. So the key thing here is what we have done is we've taken the ability to go into a customer's environment. And because the guys came from the chip world, they looked at it from the bottom up, as I mentioned, and looked at how can I go into the brownfield, all the existing devices that are out in the ISP's domain, and how can I get information from those devices? Everybody else has been focused on all the new shiny toys that are going out and all the new devices, and we'll put in great things on the stuff that's got plenty of processing and memory. But nobody's really looked at the point of view that most of the stuff that's out there is old. And growing up in the Indian market has given us some unique perspective on that particular problem. I mean, the Indian market has got a lot of old stuff in it. And we had to, in order to be successful in that market, really adapt to being able to have a very, very lightweight, light touch approach to being able to put a piece of software on a embedded device to be able to pull information that is useful for the ISPs. And that difference is really what has made Aprecomm unique in the marketplace. We're out looking at the possibility of giving the operator, the ISP, the ability to see everything that's happening in their network. You don't have to wait for 5 or 7 years or 9 years for a device replacement cycle. We can go out today and give that operator visibility to their entire domain. And it's with that, we can really change the dynamics of how they operate, how their customers are feeling, being able to give them more understanding of where customers are challenged, customers that previously would not call in and not be happy and then ultimately churn away from that ISP. So we want to give the ISP the ability to go proactive with their customers and be able to see what's going on, solve the problems beforehand. And, all of this kind of fits within this concept of, the focus is on time. So our goal here is to be able to give the user, the subscriber, more time because we want to do all the automation in the home. We don't want the user to have to be messing around with a bunch of devices. Today we've got about 13 devices per home. Most of that's coming out of India, which tends not to have nearly as many devices as you'd see in Europe or in the US. But it's growing rapidly. It's growing at about 40% per year. So the complexity in that home environment is getting higher and higher. Now, the capabilities of the homeowner isn't growing as fast as the complexity of their networks. So there needs to be some mechanism, some change that's happening in the industry to solve that problem for the homeowners because they don't have the skills to keep their networks operational and running efficiently. And that's where Aprecomm comes in. If I can get access to all of the homeowners, I can apply the AI algorithms that we're using to be able to optimize the environment in the home and do the work for the subscriber. That's saving them time. And then more importantly, on the back side of that, we provide the ISP the ability to understand what is happening in the home. So when a customer has a problem, the call comes in, we automatically know what is happening with that call. We can give the customer service rep the ability to tell the customer, we see this is happening. Is that true? Yes. Instead of going through a litany of 20 or 30 questions to get to that same point. So you have this problem. Okay, we think it's this. And here's what we need to do to solve it. It takes that process of the customer calling in and makes it much, much more efficient. Again, saving time. The ability to go through and on average, we've been saving about 30% on the first call coming in terms of the amount of time it takes for the customer service rep to satisfy the request of that customer. You add that on top of the fact that the answers we're giving are better than when the customer service rep is going through and doing his own due diligence to figure out what the challenge is. So the second call or the follow-up call doesn't happen. It's 40% less than that. And by the fact that we're resolving issues mostly on the phone, the most expensive thing for an ISP is the time and money it takes to do a truck roll. And so we're eliminating 65% of those truck rolls. So, we put together a package really tailored to understanding the dynamics that is happening for the consumers of these ISPs, to be able to get visibility across the entire spectrum of what the ISP's customer base looks like, and to improve the overall experience for their customers, and to improve the efficiency, the operational efficiency of what's going on the back end, so the ISP can maintain decent profits and actually reduce prices for their customers.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. Yeah, that's definitely very insightful overview. And for me, and I think for our attendees, it's clear that you addressing very critical needs in today's hyper-connected world. But now I want to dive deeper a bit into pain points that service providers are facing. And Vittal, maybe you could start by taking us through Aprecomm's solution and how you address service providers' pain points with your products.
Okay. So first, let me run through some of our products, what we are offering. So we are offering 4 different products. One is our flagship product, which is called as VWE, Virtual Wireless Expert. And we have VCS, which is VOM Configuration Server. So this is basically an ACS solution, and I'll describe each one of them. And we have another product called VNE, which is Virtual Network Expert. And then we have an application, which is an end subscriber application called Snap. So our VWE, I think Bob, what he was talking all about right now was mostly about our VWE, which is a flagship product. So this initially was developed for enterprise customer, and then like during the COVID period, we rolled it out to the service providers as well. So this product gives a complete insight of a CPE device which is inside a home, whether it is a standalone device or a mesh device, which I'll be running through in some time on those products. The VCS product now, the second product what I was talking about, it's basically based on the TR069 or ACS solution, where we will be able to manage devices, remotely control them or configure the device. And you can also implement ZTP function, that is zero touch provisioning, for provisioning of the device whenever a new connection has been activated. So which is mostly a standard ACS functionality, but Aprecomm has some of the unique functionalities or features in this domain as well. And the third product I'm coming is VNE, which is Virtual Network Expert. This is basically a product for access network, which basically manages the fiber network, that is the OLT and the switches. We offer this solution for basically to manage the access network product like OLT. I'll give you a brief about that. And then the Snap. Okay, so VNE basically manages the OLT, which is vendor agnostic. Most of the OLTs today who offer, the vendors who offer, they have their own NMS or ENMS to manage their OLTs. But Aprecomm comes here as a vendor agnostic, so we can integrate with any vendor product, and we'll be able to monitor all vendor OLTs. We can manage the OLT PON ports and ONUs. We also manage the network device inventory management, and we monitor the health of the network in real time. And it also has an historical information. And there are like alerts whenever there is an issue in the network or on the hardware. There are alerts where it will notify based on the categorization of the alert. And respective NOC engineers can take action. And there are some alerts which can be automatically resolved and can restore the services, and the alarms can be snoozed off as well. So our another application, the fourth product is the Snap. The Snap is a mobile application for end subscribers. This is service providers subscriber who will be using this. This application can get integrated with the telco's existing customer care or self-care application, which they would have already rolled out. Our application can get integrated, and it will offer the insights to the customer. And even before raising any complaint, they can do a check in the app, which is in turn getting connected to our other three applications, which are VWE, VCS, and VNE. Then it will pick up the insights of what is happening. It can measure offer the quality of experience, what the customer is seeing, whether it is good, bad, excellent, poor, and the number of connected clients. And it can also offer them to manage their device or the Wi-Fi passwords in the home. It will also offer parental control solutions, security parameters. These are some of the things which we have embedded, and it has a whole lot of user applications for end consumer, even before calling the call center or the support system of the service provider. They can check the health of the system and trying to fix the problems, where our application will be giving some recommendation for some of their issues which they are facing, without even needing them to describe their nature of problems as well over here. So next, this is what I was talking about, the products, what we had, and I have our technology, VW technology. So we are going to talk mostly about our VW, which is Virtual Wireless Expert. So it is an AI-based cloud technology. So this technology it's basically a piece of software which will be sitting inside the CP device, which is offered by the service provider. So this software has some intelligence, like the AI analogy. I mean, today, most of the things are running on artificial intelligence. So we have built this artificial intelligence way back in 2016. Since then, it has a lot of matured algorithms to identify customers' quality of experience or their experience of internet, how it is they are experiencing that. And in case if their quality of experience is getting degraded, we identify the root cause of those degradation of performance. And once we do the root cause analysis of the degradation of performance, we also provide recommendations to address the performance related issue here. And we have some of the recommendations which we offer. We also do an auto fix, where there is no need for any user intervention to really go and tweak in or give the recommendation. So some of these recommendations, the auto fixes which we do here are something like the channel change, and we do the band steering, and we also do in case of a mesh network, we have some kind of intelligent cell adaptation. So it will be able to hop on when that's the roaming functionality of the client between multiple APs inside the home. So these are some of the AI technologies. Apart from this, we also offer some kind of real-time insights of the connected clients and the device, both. So we identify any anomalies are there, or any issues, or any event, even the good, bad events. There are about 40 plus events which we capture today, which is pushed to the cloud on real-time basis from the device. So it does not wait for the periodic interval over here. So it will have events like something like connection, the client connection, disconnection, The band steering, where we are referring from a client moving from 2.4 to 5 gig radio or vis-a-vis. And the roaming, we are talking about moving from one AP to another AP in kind of mesh environment. We identify the backhaul network issues or application detections which we have. If there is any DNS or DHCP related issues, so now even those events are captured in our system. What exactly we do, or what are the things we collect from this device to make this analysis of quality of experience. So once again, when we are talking about the quality of experience, it's measured in terms of 0 to 100. So 100 being the maximum experience what he is having. So like the excellent. So 95 to 100, we term it as excellent. Between 70 to 95, we term it as a good experience. Then 40 to 70%, we term it as moderate experience. And anything below 40%, the customer would be having a poor experience. And if this persistently, like if it is having the QoE experience has been persistently below 40 or below 70, the customer would not be really happy. So the beauty of our product over here is that we precisely measure the customer experience over here. We just don't give some kind of a stats or analysis over here. We precisely measure the experience, and whenever there is a degradation, as I mentioned earlier, so we do the root cause analysis, we give the recommendation, which whenever a customer calls to the support center, they will be able to fix without asking any questions to them. So to measure all this, so we collect like hundreds of parameters every minute from the device. So like we collect the device stats, the number of clients connected, there is an airtime analysis data what we collect, and the optical fiber in case of an ONT or an ONU which is there, we collect the optical information. So the connected clients, the RSSI value. We also connect the usage information of the CP as well as the connected clients. So you will be able to see each and individual connected clients, what kind of usage he has been doing. So you will be able to see that. So in case if anybody is having a very low usage or very high usage within the network, which is causing hogging up the airtime or creating a congestion in the network, that can be identified, and whenever a customer complains, that can be notified to the customer. So we also collect the other parameters, kind of an latency, ping drops, the WAN usage information, CPU utilization, memory utilization. These are the kind of parameters. There are hundreds of parameters. I'm just trying to summarize some of them over here. So these parameters are collected, processed every minute in the CP itself. So that's where we call it as edge AI, what we call it as. So we process the data. So we don't just push the parameters to the cloud, but here we process the data and send the derived information to the cloud for the cloud. So whenever either the customer uses an app or the customer care or support center opens the customer's device information, so they will be able to get a ready-made information of all their problem statements, the root cause analysis, and the recommendations, which can be given in a very quick time here. Yep. So this is what about our product and what it can offer, Andrii.
Thank you, Vittal. And I know the product is very comprehensive. You have multiple tools, features, and you collect a lot of data. But can you give maybe a couple of examples? How exactly this product portfolio or this solution can help to address service providers' pain points?
Okay, so there are several pain points that can address. So right now, let me take about the support center. So just give a glimpse of it. I myself have run a very large ISP, so where I have managed the call center, the support team, and the NOC. So I very well understand the needs of a service provider to offer better solution in terms of not just the solution or keeping the customer happy alone, at the same time to ensure that the operation cost is also low. So that is very important. So let me run through how our VW solution can offer a solution to the customer. So how it will help us? The first is it will reduce the time taken to resolve the call. So if any customer calls the support center today, we will be able to reduce the time taken. So in case if a current service provider is trying to solve a problem and they are taking longer time, so we can reduce as much as 30 to 40% of the time taken to resolve the complaint can be reduced. So how do we reduce this time? So let me give you an example. In today's scenario, most of the service provider, either they have an ACS solution which will not give you enough insights, and the data is not real time, and you don't have historical data as well. Neither there is like what we have in AI system is not available over there. So what we basically do is our solution already, as I explained just some time ago, we measure the quality of experience. We identify all the root cause of the problems which the customer is experiencing. So we given a very simple language which is easily understandable by the support center. So the most of the support center hired by the service provider are not very highly qualified. So they are very basic engineers. They'll not have the capability to solve a very large complex problems. To do that, even if they want to do that, they need a lot of competency and training, and plus they take longer time to get the data. And the most important thing is there is no visibility available over there. So we offer the visibility here, so that visibility with the simple information, without asking any questions to the customer, we'll be able to resolve the problem in a very shortest time to resolve the problem. So, and while we are doing this, we also increase the first time resolution. That's the next advantage what they will be getting. So increase the first time resolution. Your first time resolution will be reduced to a very large extent. So right now you're solving the problem to the customer on very first go, because you have all the insights and information of the customer, and you'll be able to fix the problem on the very first call. That is another thing. So while you're fixing the first time resolution, you're also reducing the calls. So your repeat complaints are not coming. So you're hence trying to reduce your number of repeat calls, which is there, that will be reduced. Another fourth point is the most important and the most expensive of it, and also time consuming, that is the truck roll. So now that the visibility is there, there is the support center team will be able to reduce, resolve the call on the call itself. They'll be able to resolve the complaint without the need for the support team to send a field engineer to go and fix. So even if he's trying to send a support engineer, it's going to take time. Maybe it will take 4 hours to 10 hours or maybe next day to resolve those complaints. But in this scenario, they will be able to close the majority of the complaint on the call itself without the need for the truck roll. Then while we are trying to do all these things, like we will be increasing the ARPU, so we'll also be increasing the customer satisfaction index over here. There is when this in turn, when the customer is happy, we'll be reducing the churn as well. So this is about how it can help the support center. So apart from that, there are other options we have. We have something to resolve like self-healing capability. So probably one of my colleagues will be discussing on this point today or when it comes up. Let me give a brief on this one. So we have auto fixing, that is a self-healing capability. So where whenever there is a certain type of problem which is there, we'll be able to identify and fix it without any user intervention automatically. So even before customer complaints, those will be continuously fixing, and it will not even bring into the notice of the customer over here. So there are three types of auto fixing solution what we have. One is intelligent frequency selection. So we do channel change based on the historical data what we collect. So we do the channel change rather than instant change. So another one is we have intelligent client steering. So we take an informed decision to do the steering of a client between the two radios of 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. And the third one is we do roaming. That is the intelligent self adaptation, adaptation, what we call it as. So we ensure that there is no sticky client to a particular AP, and we like if a client is closer to another AP, we steer him to the another AP over here. So this is what we do. So these are some of them with other quite a lot of functionalities on the organization level. Also, we support them, which we'll be talking further in due course.
Thank you, Vittal. Thank you. I think our audience already can feel that solution is very comprehensive, and probably that's why you never saw any webinars about Aprecomm online, because as an ISP, right, you have multiple different needs and they're different from other ISPs. And I know that with Aprecomm, you can design your solution and your portal in the way you exactly need this. But I also know that you have special features for different departments, right? So you collect all this data and you have one place where people from different departments, they can see insights specifically created for them. So can you tell quickly about this, and whoever interested, they can schedule a meeting with you afterwards and take a look themselves.
So, just some time ago, I was talking mostly about the CX team or the customer support team, who's their customer service team, how it is going to help them. I was talking about. So good thing. So now I'll be talking on a larger picture of the service provider. You know, there are different stakeholders in the organizations. So there are your CXO, so like your CEO, CFO, or CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer. These are some of the people who will be looking at how to improvise. So everybody has a role to play in the organization, right? So likewise, we have a dashboard. I mean, like we give insights to them, and we also how to improvise the solution. Referring to their segment. So we have for these guys and the marketing guys. So for the network guys, that is the CTO who's trying to look at the overall performance of the network. And there is NOC team who's trying to fix the device management, network management issues, firmware upgrades, and fiber connectivity issues. And just now what we were talking about, the service support engineers, so who would like to have the insights of a home and subscriber experience management. So how do we address these things? So our software, when you know there are different segments of software, the VWE, VNE, and VCS, these applications are connecting tons of data on a minute by basis. There is humongous amount of data what we are collecting from the subscriber and the network infrastructure, right from the network infrastructure device. We are collecting all this data. So now when we are collecting all this data, then we need to give in a very simple, understandable, meaningful information to these set of team. So let me give you an example how we will be addressing each of this team. So now let us take about the marketing team or the business team, the CEOs or the CFO and CMO who's looking at a revenue generation. So we give information about the mesh, the solution. That is, if any customer who's in need of a mesh solution, we'll be identifying those set of customer based on our data and our AI algorithms which we run into the system, and we'll be able to see who are the customers who need the mesh solution and who are the customers who need the security content. So those customers you'll be able to offer like security and the content filtering, like parental control options. This can be an upsell for them. And who are the customers who's offering, who needs bandwidth? Currently, if they are subscribed for a low bandwidth and they're continuously using heavy bandwidth, we will be offering to them. So these are the marketing team. So now we are talking about the network cloud. That's the CTO. So CTO would be looking, how is my overall network performing? So he would like to see the network performance score. We'll give it in a very simplified manner. And we also give the top 5 or top 3 problems for them to work on for the month, which they can do the correction for improvising that. And we coming back to the cloud, that is the NOC team. The NOC team, device management, we do the network management, firmware upgrades, and the fiber connectivity, which has been rolled out. How is the health of the network? And coming back to the service cloud, just now I think I had run a long list of things like first time resolution, reducing the truck roll. We are talking about reducing the time taken to resolve a complaint. So these are some of the things which we will be offering to the service support team or the CX team over here.
Okay, thank you, Vittal. And I remember when we had first meeting, like Mercku and Aprecomm team, and we asked how long would the integration take, because we expected to, provide all these insights to our customer. This would take a long time for you to integrate, and I was surprised that it is super fast, which is not let's say not traditional for this industry. So can you explain to our attendees how they can integrate your solution with their existing infrastructure and like cloud infrastructure, hardware? How would this work?
Okay, so for our VWE, we have an integration would be required for the service provider. This is a proprietary technology what we have. So we have a small agent sitting inside the CP, which has to be integrated into, if you want to measure the quality of experience of the customer, then our agent needs to be sitting inside this CP device. To do the integration of this agent, it is pretty simple. We have, just to give an heads up, we have already done 160 plus CP models, and we have integrated with 50 plus hardware vendors or CP vendors in the globally, and we have almost integrated every silicon which is available in today's market, like the Qualcomm, the Broadcom, MediaTek, Realtek, Huawei, and other chipsets we have already integrated. So it's like we know this products inside out. So that's an advantage for us to do a faster integration. So our integration time can take anywhere from 1 week to 4 weeks. The 1 week is just that we already know, we have already done the integration for that particular chipset. We have done the integration. So all we need is just to make it, ensure that the compatibility is there. So that's where we take a week's time. So that's how fast we do. For doing the integration, the things what we need is, I think probably we can talk to the vendors and we can define them on the integration requirement, which is pretty simple over here.
Okay, and how about cloud? How to integrate your solution? How to deploy Aprecomm?
Oh, okay. So you're talking about deploying the Aprecomm. Okay, so Aprecomm Cloud, we are very flexible in terms of deploying our cloud infrastructure. So we can deploy it either on the service provider's private or public cloud infrastructure, or an on-prem deployment. It can be done. Our customer can choose to use Aprecomm's cloud, where we have hosted in multiple regions of the globe, so they can leverage on that. So that is pretty simple over here. So we are, than saying simple, we are more flexible in terms of deploying our cloud infrastructure. So coming back on the integration, when we are setting up our infrastructure, we also get to need to get integrated with the service providers' applications, like the CRM, the BSS application, or the OSS system, or they would already having an app, self-care app or something. So if you want to get integrated, we are very flexible. We already have a set of APIs which is pre-done, so they can leverage on that. And if there is any specific ask, and we can quickly bring those APIs for them and get integrated, Andrii, here.
Okay. Thank you, Vittal. Yeah, it was a very quick but comprehensive overview. And I know you have a lot of experience and you have a lot to say. So now let's maybe talk a bit more about Aprecomm's Wi-Fi optimization capabilities. So Srini, maybe you can explain us how Aprecomm Cloud Platform works to optimize in-home Wi-Fi, because as Bob mentioned at the beginning, it's very important to provide high quality of service for subscribers, for customers. Oh, sorry, Srini. Let me. Okay, we can hear you now.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Andrew. Just a bit of my background. In my previous life, I led the Wi-Fi mesh cloud engineering group at Comcast, and my group was responsible to provide the Wi-Fi mesh connectivity service to more than 30 million homes globally. So I have seen all of it. I mean, I see the pain points the service provider goes through, when they try to address the customer issues. So today, if you see any residential home, it is like a small enterprise Wi-Fi network, with the router serving anywhere from 25 to 40 client devices. Service providers are really responsible not only for providing the broadband infrastructure to the last mile, to the home, but also for the Wi-Fi connectivity, because today every router comes with the Wi-Fi chip, which was not the case like 10 years ago. From the customer perspective, when the first problem shows up, it gets reported by the customer. Normally what they say is, hey, my internet doesn't work. There could be a number of reasons why the customer may be experiencing connectivity issues. It could be the broadband infra itself. Maybe there's a fiber cut. There could be issues related to the Wi-Fi, like DHCP or DNS failures, or it could be EPOL, someone entering a wrong password, or the client roaming frequently, or band steering related issues. Or it could be a weak signal strength. The client may be too far from the access point. Really, from the end customer perspective, really what matters is quality of experience with respect to the connectivity is the most important consideration. Let's say if there is a disruption to the service, he or she really doesn't care, and it doesn't distinguish between whether it's an issue with the broadband pipe or Wi-Fi within the home. So the first thing the customer would really do is make a call, which is actually a cost, for the service provider. I mean, let's say if someone is going to be on the call for 31 hours, it adds to the cost. The key is to really, provide the right set of tools to the customer service team at hand to troubleshoot the issue, immediately. Otherwise, so it would result in a truck roll, and which is a very, very expensive proposition. So in that perspective, it is very critical to have a system that would not only proactively detect root cause and troubleshoot the issues and apply the fix automatically. I mean, like Vittal discussed, in the earlier demo. So we have all the capabilities not only built into the system as well as into the mobile app that customer will have always access to. Let's say if we can automatically fix it, so we provide the recommendations to fix it. So the objective is really, to deliver seamless quality of experience for the customer. If you don't keep the customer happy, so that would result in churns. So we have a lot of features to accomplish this. Like Vittal discussed earlier. So there is a IFS, what is called intelligent frequency spectrum. As you know, in the Wi-Fi, you have many bands 2.4 and 5 and 6 in future. And thing is, if you look at the 2.4, the number of channels are very limited, and it's very crowded because there'll be a number of other devices who would be using the 2.4 spectrum. So that would result in very, very poor performance. So the key is, how do you really optimize this? To optimize this network, you really have to gather real-time telemetry data that really truly represents the conditions of the Wi-Fi in any given location. In this case, it's going to be a residential home, but also it could be an enterprise in future. So the key is to avoid the channel interference from the devices operating in the network, not only the network within the home as well as the neighboring access points. As you know, Wi-Fi is a shared medium, so you have if you have a dense residential area where everyone is going to have an access point, that would have an impact on the performance of your network locally. And secondly, what happens within the network itself? So if you have a number of devices, operating at the same time, the A-time usage and the load on a given AP. Let's say if there are people who are, playing a video game or in a group, so then all the devices would be talking to the same access points. There means too much load on the device. So we have to consider, all these factors to really optimize the network. In this case, it could be, sometimes you may have to move the device from one access point to another access point within the home, or you make the, if the channel is congested, you just have to make the channel selection. So it could be an automatic process. And when you do this, really, you want to make sure you really don't disturb the experience for the end user. Let's say if you are in the middle of a real-time FaceTime call or Zoom, you don't want to just take any action that would disrupt the experience. So we would basically consider a number of these factors to make sure that the customer experience is always is on the forefront. We have from the Aprecomm perspective, like Vittal said, so we built this ML AI patent technology, like 6-7 years ago. So we essentially recognize specific patterns on the access point itself, and basically curate the data. That's really relevant to optimize the network. And we push only the data that's really required, to make these decisions to the cloud. As you know, Wi-Fi actually offers a lot of telemetry data points. If you have to push all this data to the cloud, it becomes a very, very expensive proposition. So from Aprecomm, actually, our technology, basically drops all the noise from the data, and we make sure, we only push data that's really relevant to optimize the network. So which in turn actually help with the reducing the cost, the cloud cost, which is going to be a big win for the service providers. In my experience, we spent millions of dollars, just to move the data around in the cloud. That's one of the big lessons. I think Aprecomm, we've done a fantastic job, really, to eliminate that cost from the service provider perspective. I think for the service provider, cost is number one factor. How do you really eliminate the expenses? For each user, to support each user, that's the key factor. So by default, Aprecomm actually enables self-optimization for every device in the network, because it has to be automatic. You don't want to really wait until the customer really makes a call. So we also have the knobs. If for some reason for a specific customer, you want to disable this, we have the knobs to disable them as well. Now, at the end of the day, the key considerations for any service provider is to really provide a good connectivity experience, because that's like a water. Any utility today, without that, nothing functions, in the home. So for that, you need to have a measurable quality of experience. So what that means is, it's very difficult to analyze a lot of this telemetry data. I could say 90% of the population even doesn't really understand this data. So we curate in a way it's really meaningful, and our ML AI algorithms actually gives weightage to all these parameters, and we make sure actually it's really meaningful. In the process, so we basically do a seamless optimization of the network, and the key is to eliminate the dead spots and provide really good Wi-Fi coverage. So we have deployed our solution in big service provider networks, and we're able to correlate some of these issues with what we have observed, on our side or in the back end, and they're extremely happy, and so we have really reduced the cost significantly in the process.
Okay. Thank you, Srini. And also heard from you and from Vittal that you're not only providing self-optimization, but you also have a solution for service providers to provide self-care solution for end user, for subscribers. Can you maybe quickly cover what it exactly is? What is Snap?
If you look at it, the SPs really lose, tens of millions of dollars per year on the truck rolls, especially for, connectivity related issues. So in that sense, so we have, so what is called a SNAP, and a SOD service, self-optimized, device service. It really helps to troubleshoot the issues. We give basically the tools even to the customer itself. I mean, in a way, we sort of provide a natural, language processing kind of tools. So customer can really enter, any text from like our generative AI LLM kind of function, and then so we provide the right resolutions. For example, if you take the Snap app, how does it really help? We completely eliminate the need for L1 support because it's so self-explanatory. And the kind of problems we deal with internet outage issues or connectivity issues or connection drops, we give the tools to run the diagnostics itself from the app, and they can pay bills. They can raise the problem tickets if they can't solve by themselves using the app. So the goal is to really eliminate the churn. I mean, so for the service providers. So if customers cannot solve the problem using the Snap, the mobile app, and then they can always gets directed to the support teams to solve the issues.
Okay, I see.
And I think one more thing I would like to add. So Andrii, Snap actually we can integrate into any of the existing mobile applications of the service provider, because typically SPs have their own mobile apps, and so we can seamlessly integrate our functions into their mobile apps on the web portals.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I also understand that it's not just about customer support, right? It also because you have this API and you can integrate with the existing infrastructure of ISPs, you can also pay bills, everything, right?
Right.
Okay, good. I didn't know about that. But now I know that we have, you have a couple of successful stories. So we covered the technology part, and now I would like to look at some real world deployments and your success stories. So Vittal, can you share any case studies or success stories of any of your customers?
Customer, there has been an experience from them. They also have experience from us. how we were able to resolve to them, and we also have to adapt to their requirement. Not every service provider follows the same, so we have to get adapted to them, and that's where we have an advantage. So coming back, I would like to talk about one particular customers of ours. So this will go back to the times of the COVID time. So that's when, because earlier, I think Bob also did mention about this in the early of the conversation. So during the COVID period, before that, prior to that, we were basically offering a solution to enterprise. When our VW solution was offered to the enterprise. But during the COVID time, that due to the lockdown, so the mobility of people was limited, and not many people were ready to go to customers' place. Today, after 4 years, it doesn't look that scary, but back then, we all know that it was very scary. So most of the employees were not ready to go to home, and those were the times there was huge demand or surge for internet, and stability of internet was also quite important, because most of the consumers or the subscribers were working from home, like students were taking online classes, and the rest of the people who are the homemakers, so they were all bugged up or bored, and they were looking for OTT and entertainment application. So that's where they were looking for uninterrupted services over here. So now there was one such service provider I would talk about. They were desperately looking for a solution on this, where they could resolve the complaint online, and they would be able to give effectively solution to the customer. And those were the times where they were running short of the human resource as well at their end. So they want to shorten the time taken to resolve the problem. They want to reduce the truck roll desperately, not just for the cost benefit as well, but there was no option for them to send the truck roll over here. So they were desperately looking for the solution, and one of our partner introduced to this customer called Vittal. So they were one of our early customers for us. So when we proposed our solution, and when they looked at our solution, they instantly went for it, and they signed up without asking much questions, because they knew what our product can offer, and we quickly did integration. So they had quite a lot of models of device, and we also helped them to quickly integrate. I would say back then, I think there were about a 25 plus model of a device they had, and within a span of 3 months, that is less than 90 days, we were able to integrate those model of device and roll out our services for them. And how it helped them also is like they were able to see a reduction of truck rolls, that is from 62% reduction. That was a big change for them. Their average call time reduced to 30%, and the first time resolution reduced, improvised, not reduced, 35% improvement. So this really helped them to address the need for that particular moment. And today, like, they're sort of so much adapted to our solution. So without our solution, they can't even live without for a minute today. So that's how they have got addicted to our solution. And today, I think without our solution, they are handicapped to provide services to their customers. That's what I could say. And this is something which we also got to know from one of their management team on that.
Thank you, Vittal. And Ian, how many devices you currently manage?
Sorry, can you repeat again?
Devices or customers are currently managed by Aprecomm Cloud?
Okay. So today we have a 7 million plus CP device managed, and we manage about an average per min. It's not just the CP device; we also manage the connected clients as well. So today we count around 10 to 12 clients an average per CP. So you can see almost 80 plus a million connected clients also we are managing.
Okay, that's a lot. And Srini, I also know that we have a customer, mutual customer in US, Via Wireless. I hope they're listening to us right now. So hello, Venkat, if you're here. So Srini, can you maybe tell a bit more about their case and why they decided to use Aprecomm?
Yeah. So Andrii, Via Wireless is an ISP serving rural areas in 10 Midwestern states in the United States. So in fact, Via Wireless is our first customer in North America to deploy our solution. So not only in the public cloud as well as on the prem, so which is an absolute requirement for the ISPs. As you know, together, with Aprecomm and Mercku, we started this engagement with Via Wireless, late last year. The goal was to provide TR069 and VW capabilities on the Mercku routers. The key requirements for them is to really have provide the insights into the connectivity experience of their customers in the rural areas. They had a lot of already existing other vendors' equipment, and they really had a very hard time really understanding the quality of experience. They spent a lot of money on truck rolls. So the moment we gave the demo and when they saw this, they were really super thrilled, and they were able to really understand the quality of experience for them from the end user perspective, and they were very thrilled with how proactively we basically address the issues itself without getting to the customer calls. And so we have to make sure we provide the SLA measurements, which is the key requirement for them with respect to the bandwidth. We have to provide the speed test capabilities, GDPR functions, and regulatory compliance with respect to latency, jitter, packet drops, and a lot of other requirements that they have. So we were absolutely thrilled that we were able to deliver within a record time. And today they deployed our solution in the network. They're extremely happy with that.
Thank you, Srini. So I think we covered demo part, technology, case studies, and I think it's time to wrap up. So, Bob, can I ask you to quickly recap and summarize what's Aprecomm and why it's so important for the current market?
Sure. Need to be unmuted. Okay, there we go. Aprecomm's key to the market because the challenges that all the service providers are dealing with are we've got more and more complexity in the home. The users in the home just want things to work, and they're relying on the service provider to be the team that does that for them. The challenge with the service provider is because that complexity is increasing, they need to have more tools available to them to solve some of these problems and to make everything just happen correctly for their end customers. I'll share a real quick story here on one thing that a customer service VP told me. Funny story. They got a call. They had a video application. Video wasn't working. So went through all the triage diagnostics. Couldn't figure out what it was. Escalated it to a technical specialist. Technical specialist spent about a half an hour on the call trying to figure out what it was. The problem with an Apple TV couldn't get connectivity. Sent it up to the NOC video specialist. They spent about 45 minutes on the call going through trying to understand how everything was going. Finally, someone asked them, well, you're saying that this is in the back room. Can you move it closer? And they said, no, the Apple TV's back there. It normally works. Why can't we move it closer? Well, the router that it was normally connected to is down. So I've got it connected up to my Wi-Fi hotspot on my mobile phone. So it wasn't even connected to the service provider's network. They just spent 2 hours on a customer support call, and through that customer support call probably cost them, somewhere in $200, $300 range on something that didn't even matter. They didn't have visibility into the network of their customer. If they had seen what was going on, they could have triaged this, taken care of it, would have been done with Aprecomm in about 3 minutes, and the customer would have been happy, would have gotten them connected. It's the ability to have that visibility to help that customer help themselves that really is the next generation of what service providers need to get to. And to make that happen, you have to have the best tools. And Aprecomm is the best tool that is out there to be able to provide managed Wi-Fi.
Of course. I cannot agree more. And I hope that none of our attendees, they cannot recognize themselves in this situation, or at least if they will deploy Aprecomm, they will never experience this because they will have visibility. So I want to say thank you to everyone. And thank you, Bob, Srini, and Vittal for sharing this insights with us today and for that excellent demonstration. I know it's not easy to cover Aprecomm solution in even under 2 hours, but we've done this today very quickly. So as everyone can see, Aprecomm is not just solving today's problems, right? And solution and solves even future problems, and they have a very comprehensive roadmap. So everybody understands this and creates real value for service providers, reducing truck rolls, reducing cost of support. And now I want to remind everyone about the exciting opportunity mentioned at the beginning of the webinar. As the part of Mercku Pilot Palooza, we're inviting you to try Aprecomm firsthand, right? So if you're ready to take your network to the next level, just visit our website, mercku.com/MPP2024, where you can request sample test kit and experience Aprecomm magic firsthand. And I want to say that we're awaiting everybody to try Aprecomm, and we're looking forward to partnering with many of you who visited our webinar today. And if you have any questions, please leave your questions in the comment section below or send me an email, and we'll follow up with you as soon as possible. So thank you everyone again for joining today's webinar, and looking forward to working with you together.
Thank you, everyone.